So for the couple to few dozen fans that made the trip up to beautiful Sacramento, to the couple hundred fans that were at the watch party at the Great Park Ice, to those of you that watched the match at home, and everyone else, what an amazing result for Orange County this past weekend. As with some of the teams on the East, they were able to pull a big upset over the number 2 seed Sacramento, advancing to the next round of the playoffs after an amazing PK shootout that created an OC legend, and we will talk about that. By the way, how many of you are like, what the heck is going on? Why is Shuttler coming out of this match? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the victor. We're going to talk about what's coming up next. You can tell I'm excited. Welcome to the Show of Champions. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only show dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora. I'm here to take you through this journey as we continue to talk all things Orange County Soccer Club. I told you last week we will be back this week to talk about more playoff action for this team, and obviously, I was correct on that. Who's helping me this episode? We've got a full roster to do this. First and foremost, the originator with me on this journey that we started back in 2018, and it is still going strong. That is Dylan. Dylan was at the match because he lives up in that part of California. Dylan, how are you doing? And how are you feeling after all was said and done on Sunday evening?
My back hurts. And my shoulder hurt as well. But oh man, it feels good. I am really happy that I got to watch a few thousand sad Sacramentans leave the stadium. And I'm proud of you, Ray. You said that Orange County advanced. Yes, that is actually the truth. Orange County did not win this match. We advanced on penalties. I will try not to be as pedantic as that for the rest of the night, but I'm very proud of you. I would have never suspected you to be the one to get that correct.
I will get that correct, Dylan. It's another person on the show that definitely would have probably gotten it incorrect, and I won't call out anyone, just not me. I get things right all the time. I'm always right, Dylan. You should know this by now. Next, helping us out from the Vegas area, originally, I think from the North Carolina area, which he's probably sad about some stuff going on in North Carolina when it comes to USL soccer. Who knows? But Brad, how are you doing? You were watching the televised version of this match. How did that go for you? What was it like for you watching the match? And just how are you doing?
I'm doing quite fine. I go on PTO starting tomorrow. I get to turn off my computer for the weekend, so that's always a good thing. But nothing will ever beat watching Mike Watts and Devin Kerr and their expertise, casting a game. And finally, he's had our numbers so many times, Mr. Jack Gurr. Every time we play him, he comes up clutch. But we figured out that Jack Gurr is allergic to the telephone code +81, Mr. Tet Kadono in goal. That is the country code of Japan if you're racing to Google to figure out what I just said.
All right. Apparently, Brad calls Japan quite a bit. We'll have to figure out who he's talking to in Japan to know that country code. We got one other person. This last person actually made the trip up to hang out with Dylan at the stadium in Sacramento. I believe in it. Even at one point, you found out that we were having trouble with the stream at the watch party. So you sort of did what you're not supposed to and went live a little bit on the Instagram. So hopefully we didn't get in trouble for that. But Larry, how was the trip? And how are you feeling? How are you feeling after that match?
The trip was fine. The trip was fantastic. It was me and Keith Jenks and Blaine Jenks and Karen from Top Men Madness. And you know what? We had a fun drive going up there. We were all very much on a high coming back down. And just in general, in regards to that game, oh man, that was just so much fun. It was so much fun and lots of lots of upset Sacramento fans talking a little smack and starting a little trouble with us, but that's okay. We soldiered on, we soldiered through, and at the end of the day, we're going to New Mexico, and they still have to live in Sacramento.
Yeah, it was a fun match. I was at the watch party. Producer Andy was at the watch party. There was a good at least 150 people probably at this watch party. We packed it in there. It was legit Orange County all on that, all at that restaurant area. It was pretty much standing room only at one point because there was literally no more seats that could be found. Yes, there was a little hiccup. I believe it was the start of the second OT where the stream dropped off because I assume CBS Sports Net wasn't prepared for this match to go into extra time and PK shootouts. It was finally resolved. We got it back on, but it was a fun experience for those that weren't there. Every time something like we thought it was going to start working or a pop-up popped on the window, everyone was like cheering when it got fixed. That's how much fun we were having. And it made it a lot more fun with the end result that saw Orange County advance in PK shootouts and the creation of a now OC legend. And you all can disagree with me if you want, but I think that is now an official phrase we can say for Tet Kadono, OC legend. He's going to be forever embedded in our minds. We're going to remember him going forward, regardless of what he does for his remainder of the time with OC or in the future of his career. We will talk about that later. We actually are scheduled to have him on the show later, so I'm going to call it out right now. Anyone watching live, if you have a question for Tet that you'd like us to ask, put it in the chats. If we like your question, we'll probably ask it. But I'm going to give you that advance warning now so that you can get prepared. Send those questions. Let's talk about the match. I believe producer Andy was sort of joking that the highlight reel has like 10 seconds of the first half, 15 seconds of the first half, and then it's mostly second half action, extra time action, and PK shootout action. What were your overall thoughts on this? I'm going to go to you first, Dylan, because you rep Sacramento, you live there. What was your overall thoughts on this match? Let's just talk about the first half. We'll get through this probably pretty quick. What are your thoughts on the first half for Orange County, Dylan?
All right. Well, I said I wouldn't be pedantic, and I don't rep Sacramento, Ray. I mean, my skin is literally marked with my affinity for Orange County. There's no nautical star a la 2000.
Yeah, you choose to live there, so.
We can't win everything. But anyway, I had no idea what to expect going into this match, to be entirely honest with you. I did figure that Sacramento would be kind of all over us, just given how things have gone. But also, if you look historically at this matchup, it's the Western Conference. Sometimes it's all vibes, and it was a little chaotic at times. But Brad mentioned earlier, Jack Gurr has haunted us for years. Those upper thighs of his just didn't have it on Sunday night. It's a shame.
Those
too.
short shorts.
Yeah. So
they're shorter than yours, huh, Dylan?
Yes. Oftentimes, I think I usually rival him. But that's fine. It's nice that I had the nicest upper thigh in the stadium that night. We'll go with that. But look, Orange County did what they needed to do. And I thought that Pinto actually did a pretty good job playing right back. It's yet another year in which we are missing a important youth player given a national team call-up. It's another year in which a player that we consider pretty critical to our ability to win the next match is going to miss out due to suspension. But Orange County finds a way. And, man, there's just nothing better than pissing off Sacramentans. I mean, you can't hit the broadside of a barn as we watch Cicerone Pepperoni Face just like launch it over from 10 yards. Sacramento had their chances and they could not convert. So I don't want to hear a word about them deserving anything out of this match because ultimately it was Orange County. It's great, truly. I love it. And this was very satisfying. This is my best possible outcome and the best possible match for me because it meant I got to see Orange County one more time this year.
So I'm not trying to upset any of y'all, but I mean, a case can be made for both teams that they both, could have advanced. They both fought hard. I mean, it's not like one team dominated this match and truly deserved it over the other one based on that. Now, I will say it was a great match. We talked about this last week. Is this the marquee match for USL Championship for the first round of the playoffs? And I was one of the ones that thought this is definitely the marquee match because it's two longtime USL Championship teams, a big rivalry, interstate, or in-state. So it was a great match. And obviously the result went for what we wanted. Larry, they're in Sacramento with Dylan. A, did Dylan compose himself? Was he composed throughout the night? And B, how did you and the fellow fans that made the trip up? How did you make sure Sacramento knew you all were there?
Well, for starters, we had a CLC contingency. And let me just say, just real quickly, in regards to the stats of this game, if you look at the overall stats, this game could not have been more equal. It ended exactly the way it should have ended based upon how the 120 minutes were played. Time of possession, 51-49. Shots, 12-11. Shots on goal, 1-0. One red card on each side, which I think, Ray, you predicted there would be a red card. Good job on that. As to how we let them know. You know what? The Sac Republic fans and everybody else, they just, they great. Congratulations. You have a fantastic drum line. So did Nick Cannon. Nobody cares about your drum line. You've got, wait for it, Ray. You'll get that. I see that you're puzzled right now.
I know what you're talking about with Nick Cannon and Drumline. My little brother, that was like his favorite movie for like 5 years.
Beautiful. That's enough. That's all the time we're giving to Nick Cannon.
For the younger members of our audience, do you want to explain that one? Because
sure. Nick Cannon was in a movie called Drumline. Look it up. All done there. Thank you. So they got lots of drums, and the drums are really loud and good for them. I like County Line Coalition set up with Andy, producer Andy, our one drummer. That's plenty. That's all you need. We had voices. We had a section that was loud, that was boisterous, that was having a good time out there. I was sitting right in front of Kevin Partita's family, and I was sitting just a little bit in front of Tristan Traeger's wife and a group of their friends who had come for the game. And, we were having a good time, and we were laughing, and we were enjoying ourselves. And at the end of the day, we got to see Tom Brewitt back on the pitch.
That was beautiful.
Him. That was so happy when I saw him in the 18, and he came over before the game, and when we were chanting for him, and gave us a thumbs up and gave us a clap. It was fantastic. Everything about this game and everything about this night was exactly as it was meant to be. And this is how this game should have gone.
Brad, your thoughts, and we're going to get into the depths of this match. I want to focus on the first half. I think when we were talking before this, you didn't think there was much going on in that first half, but go ahead. If you saw something, let me know. And then we're going to get into the second half where some of the action started going, and extra time where some of the action started going.
First half, you want to spend time talking about something where the highlights are like 15 seconds? We're moving on.
Then Brad, go to the second half. Give us the second half. What were your thoughts on the second half? Not even extra time. Second half.
I'll just give my thoughts on the game. I'll just ignore the fact that you're asking me to cover a regular game plus 30 bonus.
A regular game. Wait. Okay, I'm going to move on, Brad. I'm moving to Dylan because you're calling this a regular game.
No, Ray, just stop. You've given them their time to analyze this game. Anyways, focusing back on the task at hand, Orange County and Sacramento, it was very obvious this game that both teams did not want to break their defenses and give a counterattack. That's how Orange County has participated over a lot of the games, and Sacramento is very much the same. Nobody wanted to make that mistake, and yet it just goes to penalties. And for all those people out there that were saying, why are you subbing out Shuttler? Like, I've never seen Shuttler make a penalty save. I think he made one on his first game ever against Loudoun. for Orange County on his debut. And then I don't think I've seen one since. Correct me if I'm wrong, people out there. But Tet was absolutely astounding. You take a chance on a guy you know can save penalties. He was the better goalkeeper there, and we're moving on as a result from that.
See, Brad, this is where I was trying to ask you for a specific question because I wanted to give a special introduction to talking about the substitution and Tet and goal and all that, and you just jumped right into it. So we're going to get into this, and I'm going to say this because producer Andy and I were at the watch party, and when that sub was made, when they started talking about on the screen, I want to say probably 90% of the people at this watch party were freaking out. Jaws were dropped. You could see people, you could hear people saying like WTF, but actually saying the real words, not the acronym there. And Andy and I really, and some of the other more knowledgeable that were there, we were having to calm people down. We let people know, hey, trust in this. Dude, my son was even freaking out when he saw that happening. He was watching at home. He didn't come to the watch party, but he was glued onto this match at home. And he was like, what's up? What's this goalkeeper coming on? And my answer to everyone was what Brad said. How many saves have you seen Colin Shuttler? As much as I love Colin Shuttler as a goalie, when it comes to PKs, how many have you seen him stop in his lifetime? And he's been with Orange County now for a while, right? It was like sort of like, almost like where's Rakowski? That's who we want here at this point, right? But obviously the team knew, and I'm sure this was like the plan going into it, that if we go to PKs, you're going to have Tet in there. We're going to hopefully get to talk to him later and figure that out. Let me ask you, I'm going to ask Dylan and Larry. You guys can both figure out how you guys want to answer this. What was the reaction from, I'll go, Dylan, what was the reaction from the Orange County fans at the stadium when Shuttler came out?
I think it was largely, all right, cool. I felt optimistic. I think even Tet might be an inch taller than Colin. It seemed like, okay, I don't know what Larry's doing. He's talking about how many fish he's caught or how big the fish he's caught have been. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but I mean, whatever. It was so much less about who's coming on. It was, let's get a result now. This is not the first time that Sacramento was the higher seed. Orange County came to town, took it to Pens, and advanced. So, yeah, we just wanted to see that happen again. We didn't care who was in goal at that point because it was a full team performance. When your backup goalkeeper's coming in and he's the hero, it's a full team performance.
I'm going to ask you, Larry, and you can just say you didn't even notice or pay attention, but was there any reaction that you saw from any of the Sacramento fans when they saw that we were swapping out our goalie? Could you see or feel anything from them when that was happening? Like, oh, great, we got this now. They're bringing in a backup goalie.
I wasn't paying attention to the Sacramento fans at all. Traeger's wife kind of grabbed me and she's like, Larry, why are they doing that? And I said, I can only assume that Tet is very good at stopping PKs. And then I also added in there, I don't really know, but what I do know is Danny Stone knows more than I do. And apparently I was right. He does. And he knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, it was, you couldn't have scripted it better, right? This is something you see like in a Hollywood movie, playoff match goes to extra time, goes to PKs, you swap out the starter, bring in the underdog backup goalkeeper, and they shine and they do their job. The fun part about it all is it wasn't like Sacramento like legit missed any of these shots. Sometimes you see the PKs and it's like someone skies it over the crossbar or hits it wide or whatever. Tet legit on the 3 misses by Sacramento, Tet saves it. And I believe there was even a fourth one that we're just watching there on the replay. He actually dove the right way, got his fingers on it, just couldn't stretch out far enough to get it. There was too much power behind it. So, really, you look at it, Tet got his fingers or touched 4 of the 5 PKs for Sacramento. Obviously, the team was prepared for this. Obviously, this was the plan going into this, that if we hit PKs, we're bringing Tet in. We'll get to talk more about that, hopefully, when he comes on, if we're able to finalize that. That's the schedule, the plan. So let's get off this. Let's talk about I'm going to go to Brad on this for this next question, because Brad, out of all of us, is the biggest wrestling fan there is. What were your thoughts on the little wrestling match that took place mid-match there? And who do you think was the victor on that?
You know, in terms of who got in the most damage, probably Roro. Roro had like a couple kicks, couple punches. At the end of the day, it's a double red card. I don't want to hear any fans from any team really contest me there. Hagart shouldn't be tackling. Regardless of whether it's an accident, he got pulled. Like, you put yourself in a situation, you're gonna reap what you sow. Regardless of whether or not you agree with me, we don't have VAR in the league. As a referee, I'm probably calling that on both sides. It instigated a huge brawl, a huge comeuppance, and as a result, you just gotta do it there. You gotta just card him, get him out, reestablish some semblance of order if even possible, and move on. No team really gained a huge advantage from that. That's the best player from both teams.
We're going to talk about this, Brad. We'll talk about a couple things there, but I do want to ask this question. I'm just going to go straight to the question that you made me think of when you said that. Like, neither team sort of, had it worse off on that. Dylan, in a match that it looks like it's going to head into PKs, it's a really close battled match. Who got the worst of the double red card? Was it Orange County losing Chris Hagart? Or is it Sacramento losing Roro, who probably is almost certain to drill one of those PKs in the shootout?
Well, I mean, clearly Roro had lost his head. And, as the captain of Sac Republic, a team with a bunch of other players that lose their heads, was he going to drill that PK? If you mouth off to him enough beforehand, he might send it wide right. And honestly, let's put some respect on Tet's name. Tet might have saved one of those people. We'll never know, because Roro decided to
double punch and kick.
Honestly, shout out to Chris Hagart.
This is a good combo. A good combo.
Almost perfect rugby tackle. I mean, I was proud. That was a good takeaway. For those of you who don't pay attention to the U.S. rugby team, Chris Hagart probably should be on it because, they conceded 70-odd points a few nights ago. So certainly he wouldn't be a downgrade on anybody currently on that squad. He'll be missed, but it's very funny to me that everyone is saying that Sacramento's oldest player playing what I feel like is out of position was their best player. Like, is that not a disappointing remark for a Sacramento team that finished second in the West? Is that how dire things really got for them?
Producer Andy, welcome to the neighborhood. What's going on?
So I just wanted to respond to Dylan really quick. Roro did hit the frame of the goal with a really good shot from outside the 18, and I think other than the one shot on goal, that was probably their closest and best chance to scoring.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I got to agree with
just as a counterpoint there.
It's a good counterpoint, and I respect it. I do think that the child, I honestly don't remember his name, but he is a child that plays. I think he was probably their best player on Sunday night. That's fine.
Let me jump in really quick, Dylan, because I know there were more than just a few people at the watch party that basically, although, yes, we do not want one of our players to get a red card because now we are going to miss Chris Hagart against New Mexico United. But for this particular match, the trade-off of Chris Hagart and Roro, I think people are like, I will take it for this match alone, this standalone match. I will let Roro be out of this match and we will sacrifice Chris Hagart because Roro is going to be dangerous in the closing minutes and in the PK shootout. Now, Larry, let me ask you this, because Dylan's praising the rugby tackle of Chris Hagart. You were at the stadium, so maybe you didn't have the luxury of seeing replays and seeing close-ups and all that. But from my vantage point, yes, he wrapped his arms around the waist, almost like he wanted to give Roro a big hug. Roro starts falling backwards, sort of puts his arm over Chris's head. They fall down to the ground. It looks like Chris Hagart lifted him up, but I think it was really more his arms are wrapped around him, then they trip backwards, and it just looks worse than it was. Roro comes in with the punches. I'm not saying, Brad and I were actually debating before any of you came on about the legitimacy of this as both a red card and not. I was with the conclusion is, if you have VAR available in the USL Championship, maybe the ref gives a yellow to allow VAR to then review it and see, is there something worse than just a yellow for Chris Hagart? Now, because we don't have that, obviously the refs look at the scuffle. We talked about the quality of the refs. We talked about, how things are set up. Yes, I understand. I'm not saying that a red card is not suitable here. I'm just saying there may be thoughts of where maybe Chris gets a yellow and Roro gets a red. Talk about this, and then we're going to move on.
I think that the double red card was absolutely 100% warranted. It looked to me on the replays that they showed inside the stadium that Hagart was over him, or as Roro was getting up, it looked to me like he took a knee and brought it right up into Hagart's chest, which then got Chris to do an absolutely beautiful double leg takedown. I don't know what this rugby stuff is talking about. That's a straight UFC wrestling move. It was a double leg takedown. It was perfect. Chris ended up in the top position, and they both ended up getting red cards. Now, who did it hurt more? At the end of the day, it hurts Orange County more because we moved on, and they didn't. And now we got to play next week without Chris. And that, you know what? It's Chris Hagart. That's going to be tough playing without Chris. So we can address that a little bit more later, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about this upcoming match and what Orange County is gonna have to do, missing someone like Chris Hagart, what potentially can happen. But we're gonna talk to our guest that we have on here now, and this guest in literally 10 minutes of time on the pitch, not game time, match time, but just the time on the pitch, cemented himself as an OCSC legend. Fans are going to remember this moment forever. They're going to remember the celebration. They're going to remember the 3 stops of Sacramento. That guest that we're going to bring on is Tetsuya Kadono. Tet, welcome to our show. Let me just ask you this. How are you feeling after an amazing performance on a big stage like that? I mean, it's the biggest stage, is playoff action on the road, and being asked to do that. And I believe we lost Tet. We will see if we could get him connected back on. I think we'll see what happens with this. So
probably because you asked such a long-winded question.
Right. It is, man.
Who has that much free time?
He doesn't. He's busy studying his next opponent so he can make 3 more PK saves, obviously.
All right, I think we have him back on. I think he heard most of that question. Let's bring Tet on. Tet, how are you doing, man? How are you feeling after that?
Then that was a fantastic moment. It was I was happy that I was able to contribute to the win. I was not on the actual game, but on the PK, and I was able to, came in close with 3 saves. It was a special moment.
How does it feel? Like, I'm being 100% genuine, honest. You are now an OCSC legend for life. How does that feel for a player like you that has seen limited action, and now people are going to remember you forever?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I mean, we have only play 2 league games and 2 cup games.
And I think we are having some connection issues. So we're going to probably see if he could try one more time to jump on. We really want to talk to Tet because this is such an awesome thing. I think it might be some, technology issues with connection to networks and stuff like that. Let's try this one more time. Tet, are you able to hear us now?
We got to get him on that Cityside fiber, I think.
Let's see. Tet, can you hear me? All right.
Damn.
Hopefully, we'll see. You never, this is the world we live in these days. You rely so much on internet, and sometimes you don't got it. I like how Dylan's throwing on hey, let's hook up the Cityside fiber.
I'm a professional.
Sponsor us.
It's the network stuff. Tet, one more time. Let's try this. How are we doing?
Bad connection issues. I know.
Totally get it. We were talking about it. It's technology these days.
Is it working properly right now? Or
We can hear you. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Why is it not working?
If you want to try, Ted, if you want to try and do it without the camera, we lost him in. This is the beauty of live shows, is when you have technical issues, we just have to try and fix it. And you get to join us for this journey. If we can't get this to work, I'm sure we can figure out a way to talk to Tet in the future. Obviously, he's trying. We appreciate Tet trying. He's tried 3 or 4 times to connect on here. We'll let see if producer Annie can figure anything out on his end, or if Tet can find anything out on his end. But let's just talk about this. Where do you put now in the history of OCSC goalkeepers, Dylan? Where does Tet slot in for you now? Like top 10, top 5? Where is he for you, Dylan?
We got a couple more matches, and then let's have the conversation.
No, we're having this one. This is an important conversation, Dylan.
As big as these 3 saves were, those 3 saves are still not as big as 1 save in 2021. I mean, just the impact is, we're getting there. I think he can probably make it happen.
We can hear you, Tet.
I have faith. So maybe we'll try again.
Or
We're gonna try without the camera, and let's see. Maybe that'll help with the everything. No, keep it off, Tet. Okay. We'll see how things are going. How does it feel to be labeled an OCSC legend after an amazing performance?
I'm really happy that you guys saying I'm a legend, OCSC legend, but
so here's what I'm going to say. We may have to try and reschedule Tet on here for a future show, because I think we're having some connection issues. And I appreciate Tet for trying multiple times to get connected on here. But also I want to respect Tet's time and stuff to figure this out. So what we'll do, Tet, is in the near future, we'll see if we can find a way to get a better connection or do something at the stadium, maybe after a match or something like that, because I don't think we're going to be able to get a great connection here. And unfortunately, that's again what happens with live shows. All right, let's just do this. Any last thoughts on the performance for Orange County before we talk about the upcoming match against New Mexico?
Yeah, I got a couple of comments I'd love to make. Our captain was back, and I will go on and on about the impact that Tom Brewitt has had on this team this entire season. He goes down back at the beginning of August. The team does not win another game until San Antonio a couple of weeks back. And then we win another one right at the end. And I've been bugging him in DMs and saying, hey, you coming back soon? You feeling good? How you feeling? Talking to him at every game. And to see him back, to see him come and lock down for 30 minutes, and then come and score on a PK, that right there, to me, not only is Tet now an Orange County Soccer Club legend, I think that kind of puts Tommy right there in the conversation as well. It was great to see him back, and I think it's going to be a huge difference for the team moving forward.
That leads me to the next question I really wanted to ask, so we'll go to it, and I'll go to you, Brad. Seeing our great captain there back on the pitch, although for limited minutes, Mr. Tom Brewitt, how excited does that make you feel for the remainder of the playoffs? Because I think one of our biggest talking points on this defense was we miss Tom Brewitt. If he's there, we're playing better. We're more consistent. We're not making as many mistakes, and we just have a true leader. Does that give you any hope for the remainder of this playoffs that we can actually make a deep run?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. If he's able to do a full 90, I don't know what his conditioning looks like. There is a open spot in the midfield that we can slot in a Nico Benalcazar. I know it's definitely not a a 1-to-1 sub for Mr. Hagart, but he's done it before and he's flexible. You put Mr. Brewitt on that back line and it's already an upgrade. We've had a lot of players play back there. We've had Vuk, we've had Nico, we've had Miles. Nobody plays it like Captain Tom Brewitt.
Well, and I'll do one better on you, right? Yeah, you bring Tom Brewitt if he can start. You can actually move Nico to the right back because he's played there for us. He's played all over for us, and then you have Pinto in a more natural position in that midfield where he might be able to be strong, right? The beautifulness, the beauty. Whatever the correct word is, Dylan, you correct me on that if you want to, of having some flexibility with some of your players, with a player like Nico Benalcazar and Pinto and a few others that can slot all over the place. What are your thoughts, Dylan, with Tom Brewitt? Do you think we see him start? Do you think he's still someone that's coming off the bench? He's going to have a week to prepare now. We know he's fit because he saw match action. What are your thoughts?
I mean, he saw match action. I don't think he's match fit. I think those are two different things. I think you stick with the guys that got you there in the first place. And no disrespect to Tom in this situation. But, I mean, we spoke maybe a month and a half ago about Vuk going through a pretty rough patch. And, I mean, he was all over it Sunday night. He had a massive tackle, and, he was owning the back, which is exactly what you need. He's match fit. So you stick him back there. Nico can play 3 different positions. He played 3 different positions on Sunday night. Great. If that's your back two, that's your back two. And, as things get cagey late on, maybe you do the same thing. You push Nico over to right back, you pull off Pinto, or you push him up into the midfield, and you bring Brewitt on. Just to have, the captain's presence, have a little bit more experience back there, whatever it is. I think that's going to be his role through these playoffs, because he's not going to get fit when we're playing once a week. We don't have that time, and we don't have the luxury of, taking that chance, because unfortunately as a defender, we can't just check you on for an hour and hope you do good. You have to be on it. And right now, Vuk, Benalcazar, they are on it.
No, I'm fine with that answer. I don't think there's a need to rush Tom Brewitt back on as a starter full time. I'm just asking the question because obviously we're gonna have to make some adjustments. Last time we faced New Mexico, the star of the show was Chris Hagart. We're gonna be missing Chris Hagart in New Mexico, in Albuquerque here in the second round of the playoffs. That's a big gaping hole for this Orange County team. Chris has probably been, if not the most important player, one of the most important players for the success of this team. Who do you see, Larry? Who slots in and you can't say replaces Chris Hagart because I don't think anyone really can replace what Chris brings to the team. But who do you want to see slot into that starting spot in place of Chris Hagart, and why?
First of all, you cannot replace the guy who's been your MVP this season. And I will die on that hill that Chris Hay. Early in the season, I was in Camp Nico, and Nico has been fantastic all year. But Chris has come on so strongly in the last several weeks, the last 2 months even, that in my opinion, he is our MVP. So how do you replace your MVP? You don't. But we got a pretty good player sitting on the bench in Usman Silla, and I would bet money that Usman is quite capable of going a full 90. We know that he is a very dynamic on-the-ball player. We know that he has terrific vision, and we know that he can put the ball in the back of the net. So I think that's where we find our replacement for Chris. I think we see Usman in the starting 11. You can. There's a lot of piecemeal ways that players can go in there. I'll bet Cameron Dunbar could play in that position. Will we see him do it? I'm not so sure, but start off with Silla and go from there and see how it pans out.
Let me ask you this, Brad, because Silla's been part of that super sub bench. Him, Mo War has been a big part off the bench, bringing energy. is there any argument that could be made that you do not want to move Scylla from that role because he's been so important in Orange County's dominance late match, especially towards the end of the season, where maybe you want to find someone else to slot in there? Or do you agree with Larry? Let's put Scylla in there. He's earned it. He deserves it. We'll worry about the super sub or the energy later on if we get to that point.
I love the idea of giving Scylla the full game. I think he's looked better. We've seen both. I think he's looked better playing the tail end of games. But I've also said the same about Dunbar a bunch of times too. I don't think Dunbar's earned a start in comparison to Scylla. So I do agree with Larry. I think give Scylla the time in the slot there. He's a good player. He's come up, and then Dunbar slots up to take that super sub role because I don't see either of them really being our strongest 90-minute player.
Dylan, are there any changes to the 11 other than what we know, Chris Hagart missing because of the red card suspension? So there's going to be a change there, obviously. Is there any other changes maybe that you would be interested in seeing against New Mexico, and why or why not?
No changes. Like I said 5 minutes ago, trust the guys that got you there. When you typically look at the teams that have success, managers have trusted the guys that get them into that situation. And that, I think, goes across sports. And I was surprised to see Pinto playing at right back, but hey, cool. I mean, no Pedro in that situation. Obviously, no Grayson Duty. No Koa Santos. That happened this year. So stick with those guys. Make changes as you need. We've got guys that can come on and finish matches on the bench and that are probably all chomping at the bit. I imagine it's probably a really great week of training right now because there is presumably one very obviously open spot, but a couple up for grabs.
Yeah, you weren't here last week, Dylan, but I had mentioned I'd spoke to Pinto about his role at right back after the final home match of the season during the autograph session. I asked him about that, and he said, this is my first time doing it, but whatever I need to do to help make this team successful, I'll do it. And he said something about like he felt comfortable back there, and he, for someone that doesn't play right back, he's looked the part. And it's nice to see that a player that doesn't play a position like that is willing to go out there and try their hardest and look good. That's the beauty of this game is sometimes players can be interchangeable and you might find something out of a player that you didn't know was there. Let's talk about New Mexico. Obviously, Orange County gets past a very good opponent in Sacramento. They were second in the West for a reason. Now they're playing the third seed New Mexico on the road in Albuquerque. Which is scarier, Larry? New Mexico on the road or Sacramento on the road? I know last week you're saying nothing scares me, but which is scarier?
Only because of the elevation, Albuquerque. Because of the elevation, and our boys are coming off a 120-minute game. That's a lot. Make no mistake about it. That is a lot of running. There are guys who were out there for the entire time. So they might. I would love to get the opportunity at some point to talk to some of the players, like a Zubac, for instance, about how long is the recovery time. How many days do you need to feel normal after running for 120 minutes? That's a long time of going sprint, stops. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Dylan, you can probably answer a little something about that.
I don't think he sprints and stops and sprints and stops that much. He just like jogs.
What I do is a little bit different. I would, however, like to say that these are professional athletes, the majority of whom are in the prime of their lives. So, yes, if we were carrying a 41-year-old on our roster right now, I'd say, hey, maybe he's not going to be the right pick for this match. But we're talking about a bunch of guys that are in their mid to late 20s. And let's be honest, there's a whole training staff, periodization of training, and we're getting to a point where we are peaking in terms of fitness. It's not getting any better than it is right now. So I could talk about this for probably the next hour and nobody wants to hear it. So Ray, please ask your question.
Well, I know I'm just going to jump in and I'm going to say, you got to remember this is what these players are looking as like 3 more games max, and we lift the cup. Like, right, if we can win 3 more matches, we lift the cup. I think mentally their bodies are recovering quicker than normal. Now, their actual bodies maybe are not, but I think this is the point where this is why certain teams thrive in this type of moment late in the season, whether it's soccer, baseball, basketball, whatever the sport. The players that have that, and I'm sorry, I can't even believe I'm going to say this because I was not, I've never been a Laker fan, but those athletes, those players that have that Mamba mentality, that they're going to go on, they're going to leave their
mentality.
They're going to leave their body on the line. It's, game 5 of the final, game 7 of the final, whatever you're looking at, and it's leave it all on the pitch, or leave it all on the court, or leave it all on the diamond. This is where winners truly show that they're winners. So yes, they still have to recover body wise, but this is where you're looking at which players have that mentality that they're going to just sort of push through the pain, push through the exhaustion, push through the minor little injury things that they have, because the finish line is right there. Dylan, I don't know if you're familiar with pushing through injuries to get to that finish line, but maybe some of these players will be able to do that, and we'll figure that out. Brad, you've heard what we all have to say. Let's talk about New Mexico. New Mexico United. What should Orange County fans be scared about with this team?
Wendy wants to comment on it. Look, we played them only a couple of weeks ago, and it was a 3-3 game where we were up a goal twice, down a goal once, and ended up in a draw. And we had multiple times where we had mental lapses, which led to goals there. Beyond that, I think the game just you got to continue to play how we have been. We haven't lost a game in 5-6 games at this point. And take it one game at a time. You're not going to have Hagart, so someone's going to have to step up. And my dog has her toy in my lap, and it's the cutest thing ever.
Larry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to come back to the fearing teams thing. I know I said it last week, and I will say it again this week. I count myself very lucky that I'm in a position that I get to talk to these players on a regular basis, and I get to talk with front office personnel. And in talking to some very high-ranking front office personnel, the quote, "We aren't afraid of anybody," that doesn't come from me. I'm not part of that we. I'm just a fan. So I have gotten that directly from senior front office personnel, that this team, this coaching staff, this front office, these players, they do not fear any team out there. So being able to tap into that, that's why I say, when you ask me, who do we fear? And then you say, well, you got to fear somebody. I don't fear this team. I don't fear New Mexico. Do they have great players? Sure. I can't name 3 of them. Is Chris Weeham still there? I don't think he is.
No. He's
oh
not.
my
Could you
gosh!
Try? I would actually like you, Larry. Please try and name 3.
You can name at least one, Larry. He should be able to name at least one. You should be able to name at least one, Larry, a former OCSC player.
Christian Duke.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, listen.
That dude's been retired for years, Larry. Come on. Think about a striker that was recently on the roster.
I know Thomas plays for them.
Okay, thank you.
I
2
know
more.
that Amon plays over there. I get it. I understand. But, are you afraid of Tomas Amon up front? I'm not.
Dylan, who should Larry be afraid of?
I think the obvious answer is going to be Greg Hurst. I think he scored 12 goals this season.
Never heard of him.
I should say in the league. He probably bagged a couple in the, cup matches that in the Malort Cup. Look, Orange County's just got to be concerned with their own performance. I will say that until, with my dying breath, Ray, I will probably yell at you saying Orange County just has to be concerned with their own performance. As you know, we all perish in the inevitable heat death of the universe. So, you know.
Yeah, I want to add beyond that, like the team can't expect to play the same defensive mentality that we played against Sacramento and not have New Mexico take advantage of it. Their ball movement's too good, and they're gonna score if we don't look to have some aggression and control the ball ourselves. And beyond that, like if we score first, it's a different game. Like exactly that.
Yeah, Wendy agrees with you 100% on that.
Brad's
Dylan?
spot on, actually. Sacramento plays very pragmatically. Neil Collins was born in the East, and while his dreams are probably still nightmares of just Orange County things, New Mexico is a much more progressive, aggressive team. So this one's going to have to look different for Orange County. We are probably going to talk about it next week. I don't think the elevation really matters. They're a shade over 5,000 feet at Rio Grande. How do they say it? Do they say it like Texans? Or do they say
Rio
it
Grande.
properly? Rio Grande?
Rio
Do they
Grande.
say it properly?
Yep.
That's wonderful. Good job, New Mexico. So yeah, Rio Grande Credit Union Field at Isotopes Park. That's a mouthful. A shade over 5,100 feet. So realistically, yeah, is it going to hurt a little bit more? Yeah. These are, again, professional athletes, not the lay people that are on this podcast trying to run up a flight of stairs at the Denver airport, for example.
Let me just jump on really quick. And I know I gave Dylan a hard time about finish lines, but Dylan is probably the most physically fit person on this show by far.
No,
I don't think it's even
definitely
close. And you're talking about running up and down stairs. I'm currently on jury duty at the Central Courthouse, the Superior Courthouse in Santa Ana. And whenever I'm on jury duty there, I tell myself I do not do the elevator. I go from the 3rd floor, and I'm on a case on the 11th floor. So I've been going up and down stairs all from last Wednesday till now, and I on the case until like December, mid to late December. So I will be doing the stair climbing for a month or two here.
Well, tell us all about the case so we can watch more fun shenanigans.
I will tell you about the case once I'm allowed to tell you about the case. Right now, I could just tell you I've been selected to serve on a jury on a case that can last up to 26 days. Larry, for someone that is, doesn't really know names and be scared, Dylan shared with you, right? Hurst is the person to be scared of. If we recall back about a month ago, 3-3 match in Albuquerque, but our star player in that match is unavailable, and that's Chris Hagart, who assisted on all 3 goals for Orange County. Now, Tristan Traeger did score 2 of those goals. We will have Tristan Traeger in this match, so there's some hope there. I'm hoping for some excitement. The other thing, Larry, you talked about we played 120 minutes. We're going to be exhausted. Let's all just take let's all take a trip back to 2021 when Orange County, when we saw Dylan with his fanny pack and no shirt on in Tampa Bay. If we can recall, Orange County went through that playoff run with multiple extra time matches, PK shootouts, and they did not look like it mattered because they ran through it. So, what? Okay, I'm not even going to try to ask you what you're saying because you're scared to say it loud.
At sea level.
At sea level. Well, okay. We also played these matches, with an old Kevin Alston at center back playing out of position because
an old Michael Orozco.
Ray, you wanted me to give you an example of why I might be afraid. That is the only thing that could possibly make me feel afraid for our team is the fact that we played 120 and then now we got to go to a stadium that's at 5,100 elevation. Like I said, nobody on this team fears New Mexico. Nobody in the front office fears New Mexico. I don't fear New Mexico. I spent a week in Albuquerque one afternoon. And
you just said the thing that scares you is we played 120 minutes and we're playing in altitude. You just said you're scared about it.
You asked me for a reason to be scared, and I gave it to you. And I said that's the only thing I could think of why I might be scared of something. I'm not actually afraid of it.
Then stop talking about it.
You came back and asked me. I had moved on.
Let's do this.
Drinking my drink and carrying on with my life.
Let's do this. We're going to do score predictions. I want to get your prediction of the score. Oh, Dylan, you missed it. I am now officially a winner because our lone holdout on the wild score lines, Mr. Brad right here last week did a wild one of the famous Ray score lines. So now I can say all three of you have done that. I win. We're going to go to score predictions. I want your score prediction and who the star of the match is. So if you pick New Mexico's winning, who's the star for New Mexico? If you're picking Orange County as the winner, who is the star for Orange County? So Brad, if you want to do that same thing because you want to keep the win streak going, you got to figure out who's the star for New Mexico for you.
It's not a win
Dylan,
streak.
what's your score prediction?
Okay, first off, not a win streak. I see a 1-1 goes to PKs. OCSC win. I'll say OCSC advance on PKs for the second week in a row. I see a 2-1 Orange County, and I think there's goals in this one. I'm gonna say, oh my god, this sucks. 2-2. We're going to extra time again, and I don't think you can predict penalties because that is a coin flip. So yeah, 2-2.
I love how Dylan on the intro of the show praised me for not saying win and saying advances, and then he goes and gives his prediction. And he says we go to penalties and we win. Oh wait, no, not win.
No,
we
I'm
advance.
reading a listener's comment. 1-1 goes to PKs. OCSC win.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. You got to come up with a way to come up with a quick excuse for your mistake, Dylan. Larry, what is your prediction?
We are going to win this game. We are not going to PKs again. We are going to extra time, and Orange County is going to win this game 2-1. But let me just go ahead and say this right now. If we don't win this game, I'll just go ahead and congratulate New Mexico right now because it seems like the only way to win the USL Championship the last couple of years is through Orange County. So, Phoenix, Colorado. If New Mexico beats us in round 2, then you know what? They're going to go ahead and win the ship. But it's not going to happen. We're coming home.
Okay. Well, we're not coming home yet because if we advance, we don't have a home match next round, but potentially in the final. Potentially in the final. Brad, what is your prediction for this match? And who? Oh, Larry, did you give us who's the star?
Who's the star?
Yeah.
Me.
Okay.
Nice.
No. Actually, I'm going to go with my man who I think is going to step into Chris Hagart's very, very big shoes, and I'm going to say Usman Silla.
All right, Brad. Prediction? Star.
Okay. I'm going to be positive here. Orange County is going to score the first goal. It's going to be the only goal of the game. It's going to be scored by one Mr. Zubak before we all scream like Veronica Crabtree from South Park, "Sit down and shut up!" and park the bus.
Hey, bud, what?
What?
Just go
my God.
look up South Park. Veronica Crabtree, sit down and
Lord.
shut up.
Ray,
Oh.
while you give us your score prediction, will you please? Yeah, we're in trouble. This show.
We are in trouble with this. What do you want me to do, Dylan?
Yeah. Okay. So
You know
Larry
what you
thinks
have to
that
do.
Chris Hagart. I think Brad earlier said he leaves a massive hole behind. Chris Hagart is 5'9".
Maybe.
Maybe.
Are you wanting me to verify Chris Hagart's height or
No,
something?
I would like you to guess approximately what U.S. shoe size Chris Hagart wears in addition to your score prediction, please.
I'm going to assume he wears a 8.5, and my score prediction is going to be, this is going to be this is going to be one of those crazy fun matches. We saw it a month ago in the regular season, a 3-3 match, back and forth, some fun. This is going to be even more fun. This is going to be 4-4. It will go to PKs. Orange County will advance in PKs. Notice, Dylan, I got it correct there, so you can't give me a hard time about that like I gave you a hard time. And the star for Orange County, if we go to PKs, you have to pretty much know who I'm going to say the star is going to be. Dylan, do you know who I'm thinking?
I know.
Huh?
Who could it possibly be?
Who is it, Larry?
I know. It's the gentleman who we attempted to have on as our guest tonight. And we'll just, if that does in fact come to fruition, guess who our guest will be next week?
Well, and guess what? Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to throw out the positive vibes. Last week I said we will be back next week to talk about more Orange County Soccer Club playoff action, and we will preview a Western Conference Finals match that involves Orange County. I'm saying it here. Yeah, am I wrong? It is the Western Conference Finals next week. No?
Yep.
Yeah. Dylan's like counting he's making me second guess myself.
To win.
Oh my gosh, we need 3, Dylan.
I don't think I can handle 3 matches at this point. This might be the thing that finally gets my heart to stop. But it's worth it if we get another cup.
Anyways, Ray, what's your random thought from this week? Soccer related or not soccer related?
Oh, we're going to random thoughts right away. I love it because you know what's coming up here. If you watched Champions League football today and saw Tottenham Hotspur, we saw Sonny 2.0, but the defensive version of that. If you have not seen it, go watch Mickey Van de Ven dribble past all of Copenhagen to score a goal in the Champions League. It reminded me back of when Sonny did that. I forget who his was against.
Burnley.
But there we go. Against Burnley, we'll watch Mickey Van de Ven, a defender, doing pretty much the same damn thing. It was beautiful. And I think it was with Tottenham down a man. They were on a red card from Brennan Johnson. So if you haven't watched it, go check it out. Beautiful. I'm sure you can find it easily on social media. What about you, Brad? What was your random thought?
Yeah, my random thought is we really were let in with a lot of defensive matchups this week. 6 goals in 8 games. 2 of them came from our future opponent, New Mexico, against El Paso.
All right.
Tony.
Dylan?
I'm surprised Brad didn't bring this one up, but New Mexico announced, the other North Carolina, whatever, some other state that Brad
those poor fans that get teased all the time.
I think the USL has not made a year in existence without a team folding. So cool, and I guess going on a hiatus is.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing because there is currently an entire playing staff, an entire technical staff that aren't going to have jobs.
They're still in the playoffs too. That's the crazy thing.
Starting on the 30th.
That's the crazy thing.
That was a great announcement for them. But I do feel for the technical staff and the playing staff that will be without jobs in about 26 days. And I hope they all find places, and I hope that the USL gets to a more stable place. And like playing on turf fields or playing at baseball fields, I always just want nice things for the labor that truly makes the sport so special.
Well, and I'll say I loved seeing USLPA come out with their statement on it because you could tell they're using this for some good stuff because they want these players to have more security.
Yeah, Larry, I know you're retired, so this is probably an irrelevant comment, but if you were hypothetically laid off and your company said, hey, we're closing in 3 weeks, but I'm going to pay you for 2 more months after that, how jazzed would you be?
Wait. Before Larry answers,
competitive environment.
Before Larry answers, I've known people that have gone through those types of things, and they just let people take stuff. So go, Larry.
If I'm working for a soccer club and they tell me I'm getting laid off and they're giving me 2 months of pay, I'm going to go ahead and take my pay and I'm going to take as many select soccer balls as I can. Then I'm going to take them to Play It Again Sports, and I'm going to take their 2-month severance package and all of it. And I'm going to go fly to Orange County and I'm going to talk to Dan Rutstein about a job.
Are you going to still play in the game that you're still committed to play in the playoffs?
Nah,
He's
who
going to be
cares?
Orange County.
I'm going to be working for Orange County at that point.
All right, we got to wrap things up because we're overtime here. But hey, just like Orange County Soccer Club, we went into extra time. Larry, go.
I still.
Oh yeah, your random thought. Random thought.
Because nobody else said it. Carrie said it. Felt it had to be said. 5-0 New Mexico, because nobody else said it. So that's her prediction. The other thing I want to say is to all of the people on Instagram commenting, watching, following. Thank you very much on behalf of myself, producer Andy, Ray, Dylan, Brad. We appreciate you guys so much paying attention to our Instagram feed. And we ask you to please continue to do so. And also to make sure that you subscribe, like, comment. Do whatever you can, and do it on Spotify as well, because there's some crazy algorithm that the more likes and the more 5-star ratings we get, the higher we climb up some ranking. We don't know how the algorithm works, but the algorithm works. That's all from me.
And Dylan missed it last week. Dylan, you missed it. Larry's a celebrity, an Instagram celebrity. He actually had a kid wanting to take pictures with him at the stadium because he saw him on Instagram. So Larry has now made it. He's a big Instagram star. Hey, just like Orange County, we went into extra time, but it was worth it because we had fun. Next week, we will be back to talk about Orange County's continuous playoff run in hopes of hosting a final at the Championship Soccer Stadium against Rhode Island or Detroit City at what I think is a 9 a.m. kickoff, which would be freaking cool. Mimosas, Bloody Marys, breakfast burritos, bacon, eggs, sausage, pancakes, all that stuff that you can have. Wear pajamas. Let's do this.
I can get behind it.
Hey, for Dylan, for Brad, for Larry, for producer Andy, who we made work overtime, but thank you, producer, for doing that. We also want to thank Tet for attempting multiple times to make things work. We know it didn't work. We'll figure out a better way to do this so we can have you on next time. And for all the listeners, I'm sorry we didn't get to ask your questions to Tet, but we'll find a way to do that as well in the future. So we'll categorize those. We'll keep those. We'll jot them down. Dylan, get your pen and pencil out and write all these questions that we had so we can remember them. Hey, this has been fun. Let's do this next time. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. Yeah, Dylan, it was fun, and we are out.